I'm always so honored when somebody comes to me with a project like yours because it lets me get in my art history bag and I can like kind of go back to like, okay, why does something look multicultural? Why does something look Filipino or look Chinese or look Japanese or look
Yes.
Indonesian or Ethiopian? Like, what are the
Yes.
cores of those cultures that we can then mishmash into this beautiful offering that honors and celebrates without appropriating?
Kiss my aesthetic, brandy, marketing, entrepreneurship. Kiss my
Greetings and welcome back
aesthetic.
to the Kiss My Aesthetic podcast. I am so excited to have our second client showcase of the year. We have Mo from Studio Tigre on today. Welcome, Mo.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
This is going to be such a good conversation because not only are you like one of our favorite clients I think we've ever had, but I really truly adore you as a person and I love everything that you're doing and everything
Same.
that you stand for. And I think we're
Same.
just going to we're going to yap and we're going to say our
Damn
stuff.
right we are. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so fun.
Amazing. For anyone who doesn't know you yet, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and who you help?
Absolutely. My name is Mo Maravilla. I am a Filipino immigrant, proud, and I was born in Manila. I was raised in Los Angeles, and I am the founder and owner of Studio Tigre. It is a it is a multi hyphenate dream. I am a coffee educator, coffee roaster, design consultant, and honestly, small business dream maker. I just want to help others achieve their dreams and help those marginalized who usually don't get a seat at the table to be able to just make that table themselves. So that's
Oh
me.
my goodness. And like how freaking exciting. I think when we saw your contact form come in, I my jaw was like dropped and I was like, duh, we're doing this. But talk to us about your background. How did you get to here? Because I think similar to me, this isn't your first rodeo. You've been at this a minute.
Mm-mm. Absolutely. So I started a coffee roaster and specialty coffee shop called Kindness and Mischief Coffee 12 years ago in Highland Park, Los Angeles. And I just recently closed it in November of 2025. And not because of anything was sinking. The ship was not sinking. It was not the Titanic. It was just, I was so ready to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I needed to fill my cup a little bit more. I had just given everything to it and built this community, and all of my dreams had come true, but I was ready to dream something different. And I love everything that the shop has given me. It's given me people that are friends, strangers first, and now friends for life. It's given me a community to support and to rely on both, right? You lean in, and you can't have a village without being a villager. So it is incredible to have them. And they really showed me what community meant when the pandemic happened and, fascism happening. It is everything that keeps me sane. And I also learned how to roast coffee, and I've traveled the world with all of the coffee trips that I've gotten to take, and I'm going to take. I'm actually about to go to Ethiopia. So I'm so excited to visit the motherland of coffee. I'm so excited. But yeah, so 12 years of that, of running my first business ever, learning how to build a team, how to delegate, because small business is nothing but a reflection of yourself in like the worst possible lighting and in the worst possible ways. It really shows you your strengths and weaknesses. And I realized, just like, this is not me actually. Like, the business Canum, I'm just like a small part of it. Everything about that shop and that business was the people that surrounded me and I surrounded myself with, and I just loved it. So I am still in the coffee industry. Studio Tigre is just an evolution of that. And I now have the insane privilege to be able to like have space and bandwidth to take on consulting gigs to help other small businesses open. I get really geeky about like workflow optimization and designing things to make them look beautiful, but also just like the best experience for your guests as well as your team, because I know how much my team meant to me. And so I would design things to make sure their lives were easier. And also just to teach people coffee, because coffee is historically like a very white male cis dominated industry. And you know what? When I started, more than 12 years ago, before the shop even started, I went into specialty coffee shops and I was in love with the idea of them, but they were not loving me back. Like, I felt very othered, and I felt so just not welcome in spaces like that. And I didn't see anyone that looked like me. Very few women, but let alone women of color at just the bar. but then definitely not many as the business owner nor the coffee roaster. So I was just like, well, damn, I guess I'm just going to have to do this myself. And so
Yeah.
it was I was just so fired up by the fact that like all these doors were getting slammed in my face. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? We don't need a door. I'm gonna just break a hole open into this. And it was a huge value of mine to be able to teach everyone on my team, to rotate them into the roastery with me, to be able to learn these things that most coffee professionals don't get to do unless you have thousands of dollars to pay for classes, or just it's really nepotistic sometimes. And so it just hurts to feel like you're not part of that, even though you're like, wait, I am
Yes.
contributing so much to this community.
Yes.
And you're like, what the hell? Like, I don't understand. So when I learned how to roast, to be honest, like it was a friend of mine who I was just like, thank God someone finally said yes. And before that, I was getting all of these doors just again slammed in my face. People who I thought we were cool, like I thought we were good. And they suddenly got really like defensive. Just like, are you trying to take my job from me? And I'm like, no, I'm just wanting to learn. Like, I just want to, I'm curious. And so it felt very polarizing and it felt very divisive. And I was just like, okay, heard. So you feel threatened by my presence. Well, let me give you something to feel threatened about because I am
Yes,
a
girl.
powerhouse of motivation. Like, let's
No,
do this. And
this is
so,
why I think you're so disarming in a way, because like you're fired up is the great way to describe it. Fired up, but it's like comes in this like cute bubbly package, and it just like I think you do. I think you just challenge these
thank you.
misconceptions of people feeling stuck in their ways or feeling like one industry has to look a certain way. And everything you said reminded me of what Tiffany from Avenue 8 said.
Exactly.
She's like, I'm trying to make a canned cocktail, and I walked into this industry that's completely male dominated. And one of the men said to her, "Oh, sweetheart, you're better off buying a lotto ticket. Like, you're not going to cut through here." And she said that was more motivating than anything
How
else.
dare you?
Because she's like, let me prove you wrong, my guy. Like, let me prove you wrong. Like, you don't know who you fucked with. And I think that that joyful warrior kind of vibe is so evident in your brand. And it was evident from like the
Thank
first
you.
time I got to chat with you. Like, I could tell right away. So talk to me
Thank
about
you.
how you and I crossed paths, because I remember the story, but I'm so curious from your perspective because we have some people in common, which is great.
We do, we do. So we have a friend in common named Erica Escalante, who is a queen. She's amazing. She's also a fellow small business owner and turned consultant. She was a professional baker and she had two locations of her bakery up in Portland and then gave it all up to start a new life in Los Angeles. And she's amazing. She is doing such amazing things for our community, in our community. And I'm just so lucky to call her my friend. But I was in a cafe accelerator program with her where she took 8 of us and 8 small business owners from across America. And basically, we went through like a 12-week program with her where we learned all the like intense fundamentals of business, the not fun things. Like she's actually the daughter of a bookkeeper and Erica's incredible with numbers. And I hate numbers. Like
Me too.
I am about color and fun and experience and like numbers just give me so much stress. But Erica helped make like just everything just so much clearer and more like digestible for people like me. And then we also just had opportunity to be able to like share ideas with each other and share support within this accelerator program that a lot of people don't get to have. I don't ever want to take for granted that I'm in Los Angeles and we have so many small business owners around me and they are part of my circle often, but a lot of people don't have that. And small business ownership is lonely. And so that accelerator program, you were a guest on one of our sessions and you taught us all about branding and it was incredible because you did Erica's branding for her Cafe
I
Reina.
did.
And it was spectacular. And the more you talked, the more I was just like writing in my notebook, just like, I need to work with her. I want to work with her so bad.
So funny.
And then I was telling you about my brand and like what I was doing. And at that point, I hadn't decided to close K&M yet. And so I was pivoting K&M into a different format because I was just like, why do we have to always abide by like capitalism, even though, you know, we must live within the structure, sucks. But I was like, we don't have to be open 7 days a week. Like we're burning
No.
ourselves out. I hate this. And so I was changing into a format called Long Weekend by K&M, where we were open 4 days a week. And it allowed my team some breathing room. It allowed us days off consecutively, which was a game changer. Like I had no idea
Yeah.
what that felt like for years, for 11 years before that. And then I asked you all about it. And I was like, so I have all these ideas and I have all these things that I want to do. How do I make them all cohesive and how do I make them mine? And you were like, do it. Just like fly your freak flag out there, girl. Like it is something special to you. And you just made me feel so seen and understood and heard about it. And I was just like, well, I really, really need to work with her. Just like writing in my notebook.
I think one of the other things I remember you asking is like, I'm interested in all of these things and I don't know how they fit under one umbrella. And my
Correct.
advice to you was let them fall under one
Yes.
umbrella. Like, why not? You've obviously built a community. That's the hardest part, right? So it's
Correct.
hard to advise someone to do that when they're like super fresh and they don't know who they are, who they work for, what they stand for. It's much more difficult to build a brand when you're so scattered,
Correct.
right? But what I think is the common thread for you between each of these branches of your business is like your own ethos and your own work ethic and your own like belief system that if people are bought in
Absolutely.
on that already, it doesn't matter what you offer because people are like,
Damn right.
I want whatever she's having. Like, I want to bottle up Mo and like, I need to take that as an energy. Like, my 5 hour energy is just like a distilled version of your passion for all your different projects. That to me, I think because you have this background in this community building. And my other recommendation to you was like, let's not let your brand constrict you into the confines of one type of thing, right? If you have this
Yes.
opportunity to really serve all these different groups with the same ethos, like let's do that. So we basically spun this into
And I love that.
you reached out to us and said, okay, I think I want your help. Talk to us about the name and the vision for Studio Tigre. Like, how did this come about? How did it click? And what was the design process like once we started to like really put some meat on these bones?
Absolutely. So I just got to say also your design process was so difficult because you had to like, I had to soul search
Yeah.
so deep within everything that I believed and really put it down to paper because when you feel so much,
Mm-hmm.
it just is, it's internalized, right? And this is just me. But I had never had anyone ask me like, could you write this down for me? That way we can build a brand together. So, and I was like, oh God, this is so hard. But it was so fun. And honestly, like the name Studio Tigre came from a mix of just everything that I love. So I am Filipino, but I also love that I am an Angelino. And you helped bring both of those worlds together so well. And I had so many asks of you. I was like, I want to do coffee. I want to coffee roast. I want to teach. I want to design and I want to consult. And oh, I also have a travel YouTube channel that I would like to help people who want travel, like help also do that. And I was like, all these things, please. And let's make them all one umbrella brand that is me. And my Chinese zodiac is a fire tiger. And so that's just something that I like very much resonate with and I relate to. And I was like always very much attracted to the name Tigre. And I was trying to workshop other ways to make it like a big umbrella company name. And so we landed, there were options that I was just like, oh gosh. I went like the Filipino route for a hot second. I was like, Bahay Tigre, which means house of the tiger. And you were like, that's a little like niche. You have to explain it all the time if it's not Filipino or if the person you're working with is not Filipino. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
heard. And then I I just was like, thank God for Michelle just like editing my brain because this is my problem. I have so many things and I just wanted all these options. But
What a great problem.
it's nice when you have someone to help edit though, because
Sure.
my problem is just like I have all the things and then like there's no stopping. There's just like no stopping.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But studio just worked because it was like hospitality, coffee, and design and travel all into one package. And I was like, this is perfect. Thank God for Michelle. And and we just worked out all of these pillars for my brand. And that design process was just so amazing because we basically just got to know each other really, really well. And you just picked my brain through all of this crazy energy and took the best parts of it and put it into color, into feeling, into our mission and values statement. And it was so amazing to get to work with you. So I'm just so grateful. Girl, you're never getting rid of me. Like, I'm with you for life. So
we're in it. We're in it. No, but I
yes,
think
we are.
this project fell at such an interesting time culturally, because I think
Yes.
I mean, we were working on your branding, not to like toot our own horns, but like way before all the Zoran Mamdani campaign stuff came out.
Yeah. And when we both saw it, we're like, wait a minute, that looks like mine. Hold on. Those
So
are my colors. Those are
listen,
my fonts.
I think there's something, but I think as a culture,
It is.
as an individual, I'm so inspired to like do things that push me out of my norm. And I think as someone that like studied art history and like I grew up in Southern California, like I
Yeah.
understand how intersectional all of this is. I understand the impact that immigrant communities have on America. That's the whole, we're all immigrants. Like, this is the thing that drives me nuts. But
I know.
I think it's so fun. And I feel so honored when someone with like a very strong cultural background wants to work with me and with my team, because I don't present that way. Like, I'm a white, straight, blonde American girl. Like, and I think that
But girl,
that
you
to
get it.
me,
You get it.
I get it. And my job is to be the number one ally. Absolutely. Because that's what I believe in. So
Yes.
it's like, I'm always so honored when somebody comes to me with a project like yours, because it lets me get in my art history bag and I can like kind of go back to like, okay, why does something look multicultural? Why does something look Filipino or look Chinese or look Japanese or look
Yes.
Indonesian or Ethiopian? Like, what are the
Yes.
cores of those cultures that we can then mishmash into this beautiful offering that honors and celebrates without appropriating? So, from your perspective, I'd love to
Absolutely.
hear about how you tackle that, of like how you embrace other cultures, honor other cultures without just like feeling like you're cherry picking or just like skimming off the top of something that you maybe is not your identity, because I think a lot of people are afraid to do that.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And I understand why. I mean, cancel culture is such a intense thing that happens. And the internet and social media they're painful. They're
Mm-hmm.
horrible sometimes. They can be used for such good and then they can be used for such difficult things. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that we found that great balance yet. I don't know when we will, but working on it. But I honestly believe that this intersectionality of my brand is just so special to my upbringing and my parents, and being able to express that. Like, I understand like the extreme privilege I had, that my parents were willing to sacrifice everything to bring me here. I can't even imagine like what they must have felt, because it was my mom and dad, me and my brother, all four of us in one bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
like one tiny bedroom, not even an apartment, but like in a bedroom. And as a kid, nothing different, right? I was like, this is a great childhood. I love this. But like,
Mm-hmm.
my parents must have been having the hardest time ever. And
Mm-hmm.
I think from that comes just like such a deep respect for immigrant culture and immigrant sacrifice that like I I see reflected in so many others, like my parents, like me. And I never want to take that for granted and I never want to disrespect that. So I think I see the world through that lens often, of just, what have they given up to be here? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how difficult must it be to live in a land where you don't speak the language and you had to learn everything from scratch? There was this beautiful quote on Modern Family. Have you ever seen the show? I love that show.
I love that show.
Yes. Sofia Vergara once said, like, she was married to that guy, Jay, that old rich white man, Jay. And
Uh-huh.
he was basically saying that she was like kind of dumb because she couldn't think of the words that he needed her to answer in. And she was like, do you know how smart I am in Spanish?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how dare you? And I just,
Mm-hmm.
that hit me so hard, because I was like, oh my God, that's how so many people feel. And that's so painful, because on both sides, right, they feel like they're so smart, but they can't communicate it. And then on the other side, people think they're not as intelligent because they can't communicate it in English. And so I also had the extreme privilege, like I said, to be able to travel so much of the world. And I love traveling. And girl, I know you know how
Same.
much I love traveling. And I believe that it just makes you a better person. I really do. I think it stretches you to your limits and you grow and you break, but you get put back together in a much bigger way than you started. And I love it so much.
And you get reminded that there are more good, nice people than you ever thought there could be. Like, I think that this is
Absolutely.
one of the best experiences. And this is also the privilege of my parents taking us traveling when we were little and always pushing us to be in new environments with new people and learn different ways of doing things. And I'll tell you this one story because this is such a good
Please.
example and you're going to love it. So it's 2019. I'm in Bali. We're going to Gili Tea, one of the islands, for the weekend. It's a Friday afternoon. I'm going to work. I'll catch the last ferry to meet you guys, but you guys go ahead. I'll meet you there. So all my friends had left. And so I'm on the ferry, the last commuter ferry from Bali to Lombok, Lombok to Gili Tea. And as we're on the ferry breaks down.
No.
And so the ferry, now I'm the only person with you can see the scene, huge hat, cheetah print skirt, backpack, thinking I'm getting on to this speed ferry. And I'm walking on next to trucks full of chickens and cows and like local farmers, like local Indonesian farmers that are commuting to Bali and going back. And so
It's
I get on
amazing.
there and I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't think I'm where I'm supposed to be. And so I can't communicate with anyone. And on top of that, my phone is dying. And I'm sitting there like, shit, how am I going to find my friends? Because my Gojek
Oh
driver who dropped me off said somebody would wait for me in Lombok because it was the last ferry. And then they'll pick me up in their white van and drive me to Gili Tea to then get on somebody's speedboat to go meet my friends. And I was like, okay. And I had this whole panic of like, my mother would kill me if she knew I was doing this alone. And I sat there and I'm clearly having so much anxiety because I'm like, oh, fuck. This old man that looks literally like Indonesian Steve Urkel gets out his Samsung
Oh,
phone and he starts typing in Google Translate, do you need a coffee? And I was like, yeah, I
oh
do
my
need a coffee.
God.
And so he goes and buys me a coffee and comes back. And I said, my phone's going to die. Do you have a phone charger? And he's like, here. And he's handing me a phone charger. And we sat there and communicated with each other for probably 2 hours. He was telling me about his
That's
grandkids. He's
amazing.
telling me about how the first time he went to the United States. And we're just messaging back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, this is crazy because like here I could have had like an absolute freak out about like being somewhere where I didn't know if I was safe and I didn't speak the language. And then you just like bring yourself down a second and like obviously these people knew that I was out of my realm. Like obviously they're like, oh no, this like white
Just a
American
little,
bitch just
just a
got on
little.
our this white American bitch just got on our boat. Here we go. But like I had the best reminder of like our humanity and that people genuinely want to
Yeah.
help people. And guess what? I lived. Like it's fine. Nothing bad
Yes,
happened. I
you
saw my
did.
friends. Who cares? Like, and I think it's those moments. And when I talk to people that don't travel and don't put themselves in, like, granted, I could have been more organized and probably gotten on the ferry with my friends and like it would have been different. But like you have these experiences that are like, wow, there's people that genuinely want to help and like that the world isn't out to get you. And I think when I talk to people who don't, I talked to someone recently who said, why would I ever want to leave America? We have everything we need here. And my heart just
Oh,
dropped because I'm like, we're never going to get along. I just so fundamentally disagree with that point of view. And I think you do too. Like, I think there's
I
something
agree.
like the whole point, like we live in this world, you get one trip on this planet and you're going to just like stick to your own backyard.
I
I
know.
just blows my mind.
It hurts me so bad. It's very like small. Your world is so small when you make it that way.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I just have never been that person. Like my mom and dad, they it's like a nickname in Tagalog. They call me like
Yeah.
Layas, which means she's always going, like she's always going on trips. And it's just in my bones. My mom and dad actually met
Oh
because
my
they were flight
gosh.
attendants on Philippine Airlines. And it was so fun. I know. So they got to travel the world together for work and they fell in love. And then they had me. And then I don't want to say that I'm the reason they stopped traveling, but it's definitely one of the reasons because they settled down and had to move to America to give me a better life. And truly, like, there's just so much good with a capital GOOD, all capital, like how much good there is in the world. And just to see other cultures also
Mhm.
how they treat not just you, but like each other and like how very like ingrained in their society like certain things are that is just so different from America. Like when we were in I think it was like Nicaragua or El Salvador last. every night, everyone's walking outside of their apartments or houses or just their homes and just like being outside. And when we were in Greece, like they kept
Mhm.
Greek people kept calling it the good life, how they just knew like you go to work and then you go out at night and just enjoy company, just enjoy being around other people and living outside because this is what we live for. Like this is what we work for. And this is how I want to spend my time. And it's just like such a beautiful thing to realize like people are actually such an integral part of other people's happiness around the world that I feel like America has not really gotten to understand yet. Like they pit us against each other here versus creating like just this honestly like a community of just like no, like we are in this together, we're not against each other, we're in this together. And that's honestly what travel always reminds me. And I'm usually crying on the flight back home because I'm like, I don't want to go back.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And it's just like such a painful thing to be going back to a country that feels like I am not seen or heard or valued. And it
Yep.
is and honestly I'm persecuted or marginalized or all these negative things and it is or I am in danger, like my safety,
Literal.
yeah, literal danger. So it's a painful thing that we're facing right now, which is why I think brands like mine also, not to toot my own horn, but hey, toot toot, like
Yep.
it's so important because representation matters. Like representation matters. And watching someone else say, hey, this is what I stand for, gives other people bravery to be like, I do too. Like,
Yeah.
yes. And it less if my brand helps you lessen your fear to be stronger, to empower you to be brave and say something, like I am all for it. I love that. And I want that, honestly. Thank God for Bad Bunny playing the Super Bowl. Like, you mean it's a Bad Bunny
Amen.
concert. It's not a Super
Amen.
Bowl. It's a Bad Bunny concert.
Well, and then now we have Green Day. By the time this is out, it'll be like the Super Bowl will have happened. But I feel like having Green Day and Bad Bunny as this like combo,
I didn't know about
it's
Green
amazing.
Day. Oh,
Oh yeah,
I've only
Green
heard
Day's a
about Bad Bunny.
yeah. American Idiot. Hello. Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my
Yep.
God,
Yep. Yep.
that's
Yep.
gonna be
Yep.
so
Yep.
fun.
It's going to be amazing. And I think you and I both, we really enjoy culture for culture. Like, I think
Yes.
you can talk about
Yes.
culture as belonging to like a nation and like nationalism. But I think of
Yeah,
culture as also being like, what is this shared experience? Like, what is the thing
exactly.
that is the water cooler talk? That is the chit chat. You know what I mean? Like, because it's how we feel connected to one another. And in my architecture classes in undergrad, I took like the urbanism of Southern California as a class. And they talk so much about how the actual physical architecture and infrastructure prohibits us from collecting in community
Yes.
because of
Yes.
capitalism. And that is something that we now have to override so hard because we now have all these communities in Southern California that are only functional because you have a car. I would love to never drive a
Exactly.
car ever again. I live in a beach town
Same.
now. I live in a beach town where I can pop out my front door and run into 9 people that I know, walk to a grocery store, walk to a coffee shop, and walk to an artisanal woman owned ice cream shop that is literally
Yes.
50 feet
Yes.
from my front door. Like, hello, is that not paradise? Like, it's crazy to me how much, like, and I think you don't really get a sense for it until you travel, how
Yeah,
much we've built a car centric universe in Southern
absolutely.
California and not a people centric universe.
In America, most of
Literally.
America is. Like it
Literally.
is impossible in some places to get around without a car.
Yep.
Like in the middle of America, like, oh my God, good luck. Like you're not gonna get anywhere.
And how
I feel
isolating it
that so
is.
hard. It's isolating. And people call it freedom and independence, but I don't
Right.
believe they understand the difference. Like it is just so wrong to isolate yourself. Like I know that like I'm not privileged enough to be able to like change the way our city sidewalks and streets are shaped,
Parking
but
lots. Yeah.
I would love to just like buy an entire couple blocks and just
Uh-huh.
like design it and show people just what they're missing because to be able to walk to places, to be able to see people like that was actually one of the most beautiful things about having K&M and my shop for that long. Like it meant the world for people to come in and we remembered your name and we knew who you were. We remembered your kids, remembered your dog, like remember your drink. Like it's so much more than just like, oh, can I get a hot coffee or a cold brew? I'm asking you how like, oh my God, you're pregnant. How are you coming along? And then we see that kid and we see your kid grow up. Like this means something to us and it means something to them too. And to be able to have that community is just like a tiny slice of what so much of like other parts of the world have, because they don't isolate themselves, because they have created the infrastructure of, I'm going to walk, I'm going to bike, I'm actually going to interact with people, and I'm going to live in a dense area and decide not to have a car, because that also forces the issue of public transportation. Amsterdam only started like in the 60s creating their bike infrastructure. Like, it can be done, y'all. It can be done. And that was one of the most incredible cities I've ever been to in my life. Like, I was just like, wait, I'm literally on a bus on the freeway in Amsterdam, and there is a bike lane right next to the freeway with
Uh-huh,
so many
uh-huh.
bikes. And I was like, yes. If I
Yes.
wasn't going so far in one day, I'd be doing that too.
Yes. No, same, same. And it just points out it's not even about just being in proximity of people. It's about being exposed to other types
Yes.
of people, because the
Yes.
community doesn't mean much if everyone around you looks and talks and thinks exactly like you do, in my opinion. And
Correct.
again,
That's a bubble.
literally. And if we're all on this floating rock in space one time, why would I limit myself to only one POV? There's so much curiosity, there's so much joy to be had of like talking to someone, being in communion with someone, listening to someone to have a point of view different than yours. And I think with algorithms and since
Exactly.
COVID and since for a lot of reasons, like there's a lot of financial capitalistic disincentive to let that happen. There's a lot of
Correct.
resistance from a very few that are very rich that would like to not see that happen. And so, yes, this like collective joy, collective resistance is so important. It's why coffee shops are so important. And it's why I have to explain to my parents who like never really understood coffee shop culture. Like they're filter coffee at home, but they just like don't get it. And I said, no, because it's like it's curating this environment for people that are interested in the things that I'm interested in, which is exposing themselves to other ways
Exactly.
of thinking. Like you go back to like the great American journalists, the great American writers, you go back to Europe, you go back to the whole concept of coffee shop was because it was so cold and terrible
Exactly.
outside, but it's a think tank. Like I
Yes.
literally feel like there's so much to it that's like so I think taken for granted or like not maybe talked about enough or exploited, right? Like exploited by BlackRock,
Absolutely.
by these big investment groups that are like making these coffee shops that are so devoid of character and so devoid of
Yep.
personality that they just become these
Yep.
like uncomfortable steel boxes of bullshit. And it's just like to run so fast in the opposite direction of that, especially with your project, is so exciting. So, talk to me about your vision for Studio Tigre. What the actual space, the physical space you want to see happen in there? Because I want us to paint the picture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can I just say one thing about those coffee shops though?
Please.
Yes, I also hate those coffee shops where, like you were saying, how coffee shops should just be like this like think tank, this place where
Yes.
ideas and people collide, and it's this beautiful like pot that's just like constantly boiling, right? But so many coffee shops now that are just like capitalistic like grabs, it's just so, like you said, it's just bland and devoid of any soul, and you're just like, everyone's just on their laptop like this,
Mhm.
not talking, trying their hardest to not
If
even
they
be
even
near
let you have your
anyone.
laptop in there, if it's even allowed, like, if you're even allowed to sit there for more than 30 minutes without them being like,
Oh my
"Get out of here."
gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so cold and painful. And you're just like, what is this? Like, this is not what I want at all. And there's just so much style over substance right now in a lot of specialty coffee that I hate.
Mhm.
And it definitely contributed to some of my burnout with just like, I'm done. I don't want to do
Yep.
this. Like, it's more important for you to look cool versus like actually care about your product. Nah. But sorry, that's my soapbox. And
No, I love a
remind me the
soapbox.
question you just asked me, because I was just like, I gotta
The
say this because I
question
hate it.
So talk about the vision for Studio Tigre being the antithesis of that. Like
Yes.
how have you been able to
Oh
run
my
so far
God.
and so fast in the opposite direction of clearly these spaces that aren't doing the purpose of collecting community?
Oh my God. With great difficulty is the answer.
Yeah.
But also
I
just
like the honesty.
with a whole lot of, most things. But Studio Tigre is just, it is the antithesis of that. It is everything that I believe in rolled up into one giant brand. I'm choosing to intentionally serve versus become this like, or what I felt like I was becoming, which was like a latte factory. And I
Yeah.
no longer got to like serve my community in the ways that I really wanted to, that I feel is just like so important to like my life and my happiness. I Don't get me wrong, I love what we built, but
Mhm.
it was like a double-edged sword because what we built got so big, I no longer had the time to do the things that I loved. And so I was like, okay, we got to step back and slow down. So
Mhm.
Studio Tigre is going to have like intentional coffee services, like coffee omakases, that is just going to be able to tell a story every single time. And I get to interact with you one on one every single time. It is an 8-person seating, and it's a tiny little space that I have poured so much love into. And it's also a space for workshops, for classes, for fun events for the community to be able to just like, hey, this isn't usually accessible to you. So let's do this here. I provide that space. And I love that. I want to be able to provide that space, that platform, that opportunity that so many people don't get because the culture is just hustle, 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 capitalism, make money, do this, and avoid people. Like a lot of people are just like, I don't want to. I don't want to go out. I don't want to meet others. It's just like I don't want my vision or my views challenged because that's too
Yeah.
hard. And
Yep.
that's awful. Like I think that's just like such a painful way to see your world. And
Mhm.
I also understand that like what I'm asking people to do when, they interact with my brand is sometimes uncomfortable. Like I'm going to
Sure.
ask you hard questions. I'm that person that's
Sure.
just going to be like, hold on. What did you just say? We're going to
Uh-huh.
just back up and say that again,
Uh-huh.
and then we're going to talk about it because I'm also in the 12 years of owning a shop, I have learned that curiosity is just such a beautiful thing. Like instead of defending, instead of
Yep.
getting angry, I try to just be curious to understand like what the hell you're talking about. So maybe we can unravel some things and you can be curious about me too. So, but it is a painful moment
Yeah.
sometimes for
Yeah.
people. And I can see their discomfort where they're just like, oh, I don't know what to say to you. And I'm just like, that's okay. Let's just talk about it. I think intentionality is just the word of everything for my brands.
Yeah, I think the thing that we have to remember too is like being outspoken is a muscle and it takes training, right? And it's a lot easier for someone that has a background knowledge of the subject matter to be able to talk about it. Like I say this every time when I post about politics on as a part of my business, I say, listen, I come from a family that's very outspoken about our politics and is very frustrated with the administration. I can't say I would stick my neck out so far if I felt that I was going to be ostracized from my family. That is a huge
Yeah.
privilege. And like I can acknowledge that for the people that are not in that place. They don't have the luxury of feeling supported at the end of the day when they put their phone down. So there is something to that. But I think every time that we do stand on our values and every time that we do remind people that like there is good to be had here, that becomes it just becomes easier and easier and easier to say it. And I think you're so right. It's not about putting your viewpoints on anyone else, but it's following up a question with what did you mean by that? What exactly did you mean by that? Can I stay curious? Can I have, and the episode that we just talked about this on was with Hedva Lumiere from Curious Labs or Consider Labs. And she said it's the concept of self loyalty. When you have strong self
Yes.
loyalty, you're very
I love that.
unthreatened by other points of view. And in fact, you can stay curious about other people because you know who you are and you know what you stand for. And I think as our
I
business
love
grows
that.
and evolves, like I want to be around people like that. I want to be around people and entrepreneurs that have a strong sense of self loyalty, have a strong sense of what's wrong and what's right, have a strong sense of like their role in this great experiment, right? And
Yeah.
awareness of that. And I think that like that's the thing that I keep kind of coming back to in these conversations. And I've gotten a lot more brave about just asking people like, and what do you mean by that? Like,
Yep.
talk
Let's
me through
just,
this thought process because I want to know. Like, I am curious. I want to know because I want to know at the end of the day, are we aligned? And like, how
we are.
wonderful to work with and to continue to help other people that have the same values as you, like, prevail without excluding people that feel differently. Like, I think there's kind of it's a both
It
thing. It's not
is.
either or. It's not a I'm only working with these type of people always ever. But I mean, I want to shout your business from the rooftops because I believe in it. Like, hello. Like it just
Yay!
makes
Thank
so
you.
much
Please
more
do. Let's
fun.
go.
It just makes
Which
so much
rooftop do you want to
more fun.
meet at? We'll shout together.
Literally, literally. So maybe we can kind of send it off with like, what's a message that you would tell yourself or someone who's similar to you, who is at maybe this like point of self-doubt, this point of like, is it worth it? I'm
Oh
feeling
man.
overwhelmed. I'm feeling downtrodden. I'm feeling like nothing that I do matters. I'm feeling like, what's the point of anything if we're slipping into fascism overnight? Like, what are you telling either yourself or someone else that's feeling that way? Because I think a lot of us are feeling that way to kind of like get that fire back, to kind of stoke the flames of the passion again, to like get fired up about it again?
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful question and what a difficult question, because I understand so hard. I felt that way too. Truly, I think what I would tell myself and to others, I I want you to know you're not alone. We feel it too, and let me carry that burden with you. Like, you don't have to do this and feel like you are just, you're just going to keep sinking deeper into this painful black hole. And truly, what I would also say is lean into your community. And if you,
Mm-hmm.
and I also recognize that's a privilege, lean into your community. And if you do not have one that supports you that way, come into our community. That's what we are
Yeah.
here for. And they will show you what it means to be held and to be taken care of and to be supported. Like the things happening in Minneapolis right now, oh my God, I'm going to cry. The things happening in Minneapolis right now are so beautiful. Just like the things that you see that aren't getting reported on the news. Of course not. Like
Mm-hmm.
people defending children, like a children's center. Also, the fact that you have to defend a children's center, like let that sink in. But like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, like, what do
Yeah.
you mean? And
Yep.
it is lean into them because we are stronger together. And look what we can do when we do things together. Like, look what we can do. They clearly are afraid of us and of our power and of what we
Absolutely.
can do when we just stop fighting each other, when we stop fighting each other, and when we just see each other for what we are, which is another human being, just like that humanity in all of us. And to be able to just be valued because you exist is such a special thing that not everybody has.
Yes.
But that's what
Yes.
I strive to do. I did so in K&M, and I strive to do that in Studio Tigre, just to be like, hey, like we might not always see eye to eye, but like I still value you. And like you are
Absolutely.
still very much like important. And yeah, like you are worth it just because you exist. Like that's okay. And I don't think a lot of people feel that way. And so, or some people don't feel that way. I don't want to speak for everybody, but
Yeah.
yeah, lean into
Yeah.
your community, find that community, come hang with us. Like truly,
Yep.
that's what this is for. And it's a terrifying thing to feel alone, but you don't have to be. So my God, I'm gonna cry, Michelle.
No, girl, like same. And I think that this is where it's so interesting, because I think a lot about like, I think we're coming into an America that's radically different than I thought I was getting when I was 18. And maybe call that
Oh,
privilege, maybe
absolutely.
call that entitlement, maybe call that what it is. But I grew up in like a very
Same.
left leaning feminist household where my parents told me I could be anything I wanted to be, and that everyone deserved a right to be here. And that was the great American experiment. That's the great American promise, is you come here to make a better life for yourself, and you can. And you can. That was the promise. And so to
That
be
was the
up against
promise.
something, to be up against something that feels so opposite of that, feels like getting
I know.
duped, and it's so easy to be discouraged. But I think there's enough of us that really believe in those like core tenets. There's enough of us that really do believe in that vision and that dream. Not to say that there's not corruption, not to say that there's not things that need to be changed, not to say that there's not, but like to start to see that erode, and like the checks and balances and everything you learn in government class since you're
Oh
like
my God.
10, and like due process and like
Right?
treating people with dignity and respect. Like it's mind boggling to me that number one, people are okay with it. Number two, people are not saying anything about it. Like they're just not, or they're opting out, or they're trying to
Oh
save
my
their
gosh,
face for the
y'all.
sake of their own pocketbook. Like then I do get frustrated, and I do start to be like, okay, listen, there are things that are so much more important than like the colors that we pick for a logo. Like, hello, you know what I mean? Like, it makes me want to throw in
Yes.
the towel and be like, do
Yes.
I need to get into politics? Like, immediately, right? So I think it
Girl,
is a
you would be
reminder.
amazing in politics, though. You'd be
I was gonna
amazing.
say, girl, when you're ready to run for like local government, I'm doing your like assets. Like that's the dream. But I worked on James Tallarico's campaign in 2018. I did freelance graphics for him,
That's
and
amazing.
to
Yes.
see him popping off in Texas as like this example of, and I'm not Christian, but I went to a Catholic school, to see an example of someone who has a strong tie to their religion, which I do not, but I can appreciate that
I
for
feel
what
you,
it
me
is.
either.
I can appreciate that, like that is your right to do that. That's part of the promise. It's the
Absolutely.
freedom of religion,
And that's
separation
the
of church and
beauty.
state. that's the beauty of being here, is you can believe in what you want to believe in, so long as you're not infringing on the rights of someone else. And so the way the Christian nationalism has been absolutely torqued and turned and used as propaganda, to me, I'm just like, how did we get here? And also, like,
Oh my gosh, I
how do
know.
we fix this? Because like,
Oh
this is clearly
girl.
not going to work for us, for anybody in the long term, because everyone
I
who's
know.
thinking that they're benefiting is still victim of this oppressive system.
Absolutely. And like he's this is so painful also because it's like, yeah, y'all, like he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And you didn't believe him. And like, look what's happening. Like,
Mhm.
everyone's in the shit. You too, the person who voted for him. Like, good for you. Like, thanks. This is your fault. But
But then
how to
also,
move forward?
at
How
the
do we
same
get
time,
there?
we got to make
Oh, yeah.
space for someone who's like, I made a mistake. Like,
Oh,
I
absolutely.
made a mistake.
And
And
truly, I'm
so,
here for that. But that
same.
was my anger coming out for sure. It
No,
was
girl, I'm the same. I
like,
flip
oh
flop between
my
the
God,
two
don't you
emotions.
talk to me when we're on
Uh-huh.
Don't you talk to me when we're both getting like arrested by ICE and just like, and it's such a painful moment. But truly, again, like that is what we're also here for. Like that curiosity of just like, hey,
Absolutely.
you voted for him. Why? I'd love to understand what makes you feel this way because I don't feel that way. And I'd love for you to be open to hearing what I feel too.
Yeah.
And honestly, like not all my family voted
Right.
on the right side of history. and and it was a reckoning. It was a painful
Yeah.
reckoning. And I'm sure many families felt it. Like how you're just like, I didn't think this was a part of our family. And I didn't realize just
Right.
like how different we are at this moment. But like, hey, like you are family. And I honestly
Yeah.
think that like I am not religious, but I once heard this quote that like God makes the people your family who like are there to challenge you the most because like it is
Oh,
so hard. Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah. It is so
Yeah.
hard sometimes to like, I love you still, even though we're so at odds. Like, just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But like, I believe that.
Yeah.
And it is like it's a different world. It's a different America than what my parents definitely sacrificed everything to come here for and
Yeah.
to believe in that American dream that definitely was a lie. It was a lie.
To turn our argument on our head, like they didn't get the America that they thought they were getting. They were benefiting greatly. Like
Not at
there's
all.
definitely
Not at
a class
all.
of people that was very comfortable with the way things are going, or was at least uncomfortable with the things were going Obama era onwards, right? Like they felt like their country was being
Yes.
taken from them. And so it's like, do you not realize like,
Yes.
oh, it's just, I think everyone's acting out of fear. Like there's a real fear here, right? Like it's all fear-based emotion. And for me,
Yes.
politics is so fascinating because not only to me has like the political conversation now evolved to a conversation about ethics and morals and humanity, because that's where we're at. It's not just politics anymore. It's not this park should be there
Oh
versus
yeah.
there. This is not like, oh, we should have this sewage system and not that one. And all of that is also inherently like cultural and political and biased and all of these things. But I think like
Yes.
we're at this point where it's like there's just so much to make people afraid of on both sides. Like I think both sides are angry because it's out of fear. And so it's like, can we
Absolutely.
bridge that gap by collecting? There's a TikTok I watched the other day that says, I'm not just taking pictures, or like lingering somewhere when I travel. I'm downloading experiences to my internal hard drive. So I'm like out in the world collecting
I love that.
experiences for my internal hard drive so that I can get through the times that are bad, because I can pull all this data from my backlog, right? Of examples
It's
of
true.
humanity being good. And it's like it's so easy to ignore that. It's so easy to get like sucked in, and like social media is part to blame, but for me like branding and politics is the same thing. It's a messenger has a message for a community, and we need to let that community know that they are
Exactly.
seen and heard, like you've been saying this whole time, because that's how all of
Damn
this
right.
functions. That's how all of this works together. And so if not that, what are we doing? Like what
Exactly.
are
And to harken that back to what you were saying about the Zoran Mamdani campaign, like I
Yeah.
was in New York right after New Year's and everyone was talking about him and it was
Yep.
beautiful. I was there the day after he got sworn in and I was just like, "Ugh," like just like feeling this
There's a
collective,
glimpse.
just like
Yep.
beautiful hope, right? And his signage was brilliant. Like it made people who were New Yorkers and immigrants, like Americans and immigrants alike. Sorry, that's an interchangeable word, damn it.
Yes,
Immigrants
literally,
and
literally.
non-immigrants, or
Yes.
people who are born here and not born here, all the
Yeah.
things. Just they were so seen in so many
So
ways.
like Native Americans and then everyone else. Yeah.
I know, just like guys.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
the first peoples and then us.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is not
Uh-huh.
our place.
Uh-huh.
This
Uh-huh.
is not our
Uh-huh.
land.
Nope.
But
Yep.
it was
Yep.
such a beautiful thing to get to see that branding and that campaign just like showcase, like, let me show you I see you in this bit. Let me show you I see you in this way. Let me show you I see you and understand you and I'm just like you in this way.
And let's find the things that we all care about. Affording our
Exactly.
rent, raising our children, affording groceries, like taking care of mothers, like taking care of like this
Yeah.
is like it doesn't matter where you come from. Like it's pretty hard to find an argument against those things in my mind. So it's like, yeah,
In my
hello,
mind too.
it can be that
But you
simple.
know what? If you have an argument for it, let's talk. Let's talk.
Literally,
It should be
literally,
that simple.
literally.
And honestly, I believe you. And it was a beautiful thing to get to see. And I was walking behind a New Yorker who was talking on the phone, and he was like, I saw Zoran Mamdani. I saw him, and he was like walking across the street, and he just like yelled. He just goes, Zoran, we love you. And he said he like really wanted to like run across and hug him, but then he was
Oh.
like surrounded by security. I didn't want to get tackled. And I was like, oh my God, I also would have done that. I also would have been like, oh yeah, I don't want to get tackled by these giant men.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
But like,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
to have people see like in a political candidate someone that's just like them and that's so relatable,
Mhm,
like I think that's also important. Like, politics has become this like such othering, right, of like
mhm,
untouchables, of just
mhm,
people who are like
mhm,
almost not real. Like, you could never be
mhm,
around them versus like, yeah, like he was at like a nursing home, or he was just at like
mhm,
he was in the subway. Like, he got sworn
mhm,
in like a park or something. Like, it was just like,
mhm.
this is what we need,
Well,
just like reminders again of good and humanity
and we
in
can't
all
talk
of
about
us.
Zohran Mamdani without talking about the fact that he worships his wife. Like,
I
he
know,
loves that
honestly.
woman. I'm like,
I love that
my
woman.
jaw is on the floor. And she literally, like, she posted on social media things that inspired me this week, the week he got elected, and it was all art. All of it was art. None of it was my husband. My husband, nope, nope. And I'm like,
I
girl,
love it.
icon, icon amongst us. Like, you are
I
such
love
your
her
own
so
person.
much.
She's such an artist. She's so smart. She's so like, and that collaboration to me of like puppy dog husband, black cat female, like that. I just like, I could eat it up. Like, I just love it because it's
Same.
neither person had to compromise on who they are to do
Exactly.
well, to like achieve. And like, is that not what we're
Exactly.
all going for? I
Exactly.
love
And
it.
they make each other better. Like, they make each other
Yes.
better. And I think that's just like such a beautiful, healthy relationship, that like goals, just like such goals
Mhm,
that
mhm.
I think every politician needs to take note, y'all. Like,
And how refreshing is it
yo,
to see a politician that you admire? Woo,
I know. And
woo,
truly, it's been a
woo.
while, huh? Like, it's been a
Uh-huh,
while. No wonder
uh-huh.
2016 is trending in 2026.
No kidding,
I was
no
like,
no
why are we
kidding.
talking about 2016? And I was like, oh,
Oh,
I know.
yes,
I
yes.
understand.
Oh my gosh. Well, we barely talked about coffee, but I think that's okay.
That's okay. That's
That's
okay. Oh my
okay.
gosh.
Can we plug
That's
your
so
stuff?
funny. Yes,
I knew we
yes.
wouldn't, but tell everyone
You
where we can
know,
find you, follow you, check out Studio Tigre, all that good stuff.
absolutely. And truly, coffee, yo, let's just grab a cup anytime. Like, I love
Yes.
it. And coffee will always be a part of my life, but it is not everything. So I love it. But
Mhm, mhm,
y'all, find me on socials at studiotigre.la on Instagram,
mhm,
and email me. We're going to launch my website that Michelle has so beautifully made. I'm so excited. And you're going to be able to buy really fun merch that I've made. I also just have
mhm.
like I just have a fire for designing clothes. I might just start a clothing line. I also love it.
Love it.
Um,
Love it.
Find me on YouTube with my husband on our Special Spice Travels channel, where you get to just see me traveling. And if you want some help planning a trip, I love it. I live for helping people travel the world. And if you want a coffee class, a coffee roasting class, if you want to attend a coffee omakase, reach out to me. Or if you need some consulting help with your small business or large business, for design, for workflow optimization, for training, I'm here for all of it, because I just want I want hospitality to return to just like radical joy and intentional service.
Yeah.
And I just
Yes.
want, yeah, just like, I don't want this to feel, I don't want hospitality to be a dirty word. Like people see it and they
Yes.
just are like, oh God, like it sounds almost like slave labor. They just feel like, oh, the customer's always right. And it's like, no, actually, like, no, beautiful, spectacular hospitality is such a like
Yes.
honoring of people. And that's what I want.
Mm.
I want to like help
Mhm.
spread that and help people learn how to do it and teach people how to do it and help you put it into your shop or your business. So let's
Hey,
talk.
we always say that. We always say we're all in the business of helping people no matter what you do. That's the business. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for
Yay.
going there with me on the politics thing because I
Thank
know it weighs
you.
heavy on both of our hearts
Always,
and
always.
minds and
Oh my
eyes and
gosh.
ears and
I love
all
you,
the
Michelle. Thank
all
you.
the feelings. My goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
I know,
Amazing.
girl. We just gotta go get a drink together.
Oh, anytime. Anytime. Then we'll really talk our shit.
Hell yes.
If you
I
guys
know,
love this
exactly.
episode,
Anyone wants to
yeah,
join us for this drink, it'll be great.
literally. If you were listening, you made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much. Please make sure you send to a friend, save, share, throw Mo a follow. You won't regret it, I promise. And we'll catch you next time on the pod. Thank you so much, Mo.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.